Hello and welcome back to my off-grid adventures. I'm Frank and it's another beautiful day here in Michigan. Today I'm going to do a product demonstration and a review of my Anker 767 Powerhouse power station. I've had this for a couple of months and I'd like to share some pros and cons with you of my use with it so far. First, let me tell you about the setup that I have. I have it with the expansion battery, which makes this over 4,000 watt hours. And that's enough to power just about everything in my RV. I'm not sure it can power the air conditioner yet. I haven't tried that, but it does work with everything running, including the microwave. So I'm very happy with the power that this has. I also have with it the 400 watt solar panels that are made for this by Anker, and I've been really pleased with that as well. There does happen to be a $500 coupon on Amazon right now for this unit for the two of these things combined. So that's a great deal if you're looking for this. It might not be there depending on when you are watching this video, but if you do get a chance to snatch it up, that's a pretty good sale. It might go even lower if you wait for Black Friday or the next Amazon Prime Day. All right, let me start with some of the pros. I always like to start as positive as we can. What I like about this the most, and the reason that I bought it, was so that I could plug in my 30 amp power from the RV directly into this and then use anything on the power outlets in the RV. I was using an EcoFlow smaller power bank before that I just took inside with me, and whenever I wanted to run something like the Starlink router, I would have to plug it into that. Or if we wanted to watch television, this is much nicer to be able to just have one plug that goes into it and then all the outlets in the trailer work. So that's the first positive that I like about this. I also like how it has enough power to run anything, including the microwave. It'll run those smaller things like a TV and charge your phones and run the Starlink router for a couple of days. There's so much power here. It also charges really quickly. You're charging it through AC or even the solar input. It charges quicker than the other units that I've used before. I also like that it comes in two pieces. If this was one unit, I wouldn't be able to lift it easily, not without hurting my back and knees. So I am glad that it's manageable when you split it up into these two. All right, now it's time to cover a few of the cons. The first thing is the first unit that was delivered to me. I plugged it into the wall right after I got it, charged it to full, and immediately it wouldn't work. It powered up and you could see everything, but this area here, you have to press that button to make this whole section export power. So it would just click immediately off and it wouldn't work at all. These worked. I didn't try the car socket, but the USB-C and the USB ports all worked fine. But these, which is the reason I bought it, none of them worked. And I did a reboot of the system. I did the firmware update. I called customer service and walked through things and ended up having to return it. Now, thankfully, I was really grateful that they just sent me a new one and didn't wait for me to send this in and have to wait for it to be inspected or fixed and sent back. It's such an expensive unit. I just wanted it to work, and they did send me one, and then I didn't have to wait. I was able to get what I needed and start using it earlier. But that still was an issue. And then this one, the replacement, when it came, seemed to be working fine. But then a similar issue happened where it would go off a little different than before. It took sometimes a few minutes before it would go off, but then it did eventually start to click off again. But the firmware update seems to have resolved that. So this time the unit seems to be working well. All right, another con that I have for this is that I wish it had Wi-Fi and not just Bluetooth. I would love to be able to control it remotely or at least monitor it remotely, just like the Easy Touch RV thermostat that I have in the trailer. I'm able to access that remotely, and that's really convenient. So I do wish that I could access this remotely to keep tabs on the charge and the output. I also wish that the Bluetooth that it does have was much better. First, it goes off periodically. That might be intentional. I'm not sure. It might be something they'll change in a firmware update, but it goes off after just a few minutes. Also, it doesn't have good range at all. I haven't been able to get a signal on my phone with the Bluetooth more than 10 feet away. And where I store this to power the RV is the closest part of the RV to the unit is about 10 feet, and sometimes it doesn't even get a signal there. So that is a concern. I do wish that the Bluetooth sent a more powerful signal. I do wish that the expansion battery could serve a dual purpose as a standalone battery with the ability to charge it without the large cord that it has in the back, which I'll show you in a moment. I wish you could just plug in a cord like you can the main unit and charge it separately, and I wish you could draw power from it separately. If that were the case, I would be using this in a few different ways. I'd take it to parts of the property where it's just not as convenient to haul this bigger, heavier unit with me, and that would be quite convenient. But it's pretty much locked down. All that it is an additional amount of energy to provide to the main unit. Another thing that people often complain about when I was researching reviews on this is that the way that it's built, it doesn't have a 90-degree angle at the plug, meaning that you have to have quite a bit of space behind the unit for it to fit. So it's best to be diagonal in a corner. I knew that ahead of time and accommodated for it in my setup, so it's not a concern for us. But I can see how this cord, if it was a right angle in the back instead of stiff and rigid like this and circular, would be an advantage for others. All right, I've flipped these around so I can show you what's on the back side of both of these two units. And on the main one, there are two ways to charge this. One is through AC input on the right and solar input on the left. And then that center is just the center button is just an overcharge protection. I haven't used it yet, so I'm not too sure about what that's for, but then it has cord that just comes out and secures really well. So that's what you're looking at here for the end of the plug. And as you can see, this is pretty stiff. So that connection in the back requires a solid foot of space between the back end of the unit and the wall that you're storing it in. This is the place where it plugs into this, and that's all there is. There's no outlets or inputs on this. That's the only thing you have here. Both of these have nice handles on both sides that you can grab and carry it with. And then what I really like about this is this main unit has this quality suitcase style extension that just pops out and stores really well and lets you use the roller wheels to get this around if you've got to. I don't move it that much, but that is nice to have. It also has a very quiet fan. I should have mentioned that before in the Pro section. You rarely hear this. It's very, very quiet. Quieter than the smaller EcoFlow that I was using before. So that's my review. I've been using this for a couple of months now, and I am really happy to have a solution that just plugs in with one source and powers everything that we need in the RV. I'm happy with how much it will power, how long it will last, how easily it charges through both AC and through solar. So overall, very happy with it. But yeah, we've had issues and some others have had issues. So just do your research and make a informed decision for yourself if this is the right unit compared to the many other options that are out there. So overall, I'm very happy with this. I just hope that we don't have any more issues with the AC side of it going off again. But from the support that I got from the Anker team, I am confident that if something does happen again, they'll stand behind it and take care of it for me. I hope this review was helpful.